Hey ho, welcome back to the Cube. I know that I haven't done any updates in the last couple of days, even though I had meant to. That was because I'm going to be really honest, sort of heading into this last week before the actual surgery that I've literally been waiting over 5 months for. I started to let myself start to get a little depressed. I didn't want to work out. I didn't want to work, like just doing any work, doing really sort of anything, period, has been a slog. It's taken a lot of effort, but I'm trying to be kind to myself because, yeah, if I don't do cancer perfectly right, that's gonna be a-okay. And I'm trying to show myself a little grace. I'm completely human. That said, though, very proud of the fact that, once I acknowledged that I was putting off buying the damn wedge pillow, that I finally actually did that, and it arrived very quickly. So here it is. This is going to be my best buddy post-surgery, so I've been told, because the wedge pillow will allow me to sort of sleep partially sitting up or inclined. And I guess that really helps with reducing fluid accumulation in the chest wall area as I'm recovering. So I'll have to report in on whether or not that's actually true. So that said, things are a little bit better in my world. I just had my last circus class training session with my fellow Friday noon circus buddies, and that always lifts my spirits. They've been really awesome, and I'm going to be very sad to not see them for a few months, but I'm looking forward to getting back with them once that is. But yeah, so today was my very last day on silks, certainly for several months. I think when I do go back to training, I'll be on hoop for a while, because physically that is a lot less demanding for me personally on my upper body. So I can take rest breaks when I'm on that apparatus, because it's very similar to my cube, except it's hanging up in the air, so it's got nice solid bits, unlike silks, which is fabric, and I have to be holding on or wrapping something around a different body part. It's a lot more complex, so it'll be a little while before I get back to silks. Yesterday went to see a really spectacular talk. I belong to a group called it's called a C Talk. It's a group that meets once a month, and we have a different speaker every month. And the person who spoke yesterday is actually I'm gonna get this wrong probably, but she is a master in Taekwondo. She competes nationally. She competes internationally, and is currently training for the Olympics. And on top of that, has recently completed a master's degree in kinesiology, and is now progressing on to her PhD in kinesiology. So just a really spectacularly impressive young woman who gave the talk last night for the group, and it was just a nice evening. And while I was there, a very sweet friend of mine gave me a bag as we were parting ways, which was black humor like this is most definitely my kind of thing. She's a very good friend. She knows me very well. So I haven't actually opened it up, because I laughed at the bag, gone but not forgotten, saying goodbye to my melons. And the one thing that I do know is in here is a very lovely coloring book called It's Official, Flat is the New Fabulous. Which is definitely going to be a useful a useful thing when my brain's not working very well. And I thought I'd open up because I wanted to be in the right frame of mind before I opened it up. I was definitely feeling sorry for myself a fair bit earlier today, but of course I've just come back from training, which always makes me feel really, really good. I need to remember and remind myself every single time that exercise really, really makes me feel better. So, it's so hard to find that energy to start working out or training, but any sort of movement, it's so easy. My brain demons just forget that movement makes me feel better. It really does improve my mental health. And so I wanted to make sure that I was in the right frame of mind before I opened up and saw what other banana pants things she might have included in here. So thank you very, very much. And I thought I'd open it up and see what's in here. Okay, so what do we got here? Okay, step one. Oh gosh, I think it's a t-shirt. Oh, no, awesome, even better. It's a, it's like a pencil case. And it says, yeah, they are gone. They tried to kill me. Love it. And considering how often I am losing things like my knitting supplies and my drawing supplies and whatever other supplies I need for whatever activity I happen to be doing, this is going to get lots and lots of use. This is my new favorite bag, which is hilarious because she also gave me my other very, very favorite pouch in the world, which is literally right over here, when she very kindly gave me something else in this awesome evidence pouch that when I went to look it up appears to have come from a law company. I think she actually bought it quite possibly as swag from a conference that she was probably at since she's a lawyer. But the evidence bag is like just the stinking cutest thing. So she knows me really, really well. Okay, what else is in here? Oh gosh, there's so much in here. Jeez. Okay, so I got some paper clips. I always use that. What is in here? Okay, I don't even know. Woo! Feels like Christmas. Which is really funny because yeah, I gotta wrap things for Christmas. I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna do that while I'm recovering, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, what the heck is this? Oh my gosh! She has made sure that I've got everything I need. So if I was just planning on basically DIYing some old conference lanyards and literally just clipping my drains or safety pinning them to whatever I was going to be wearing. She has made sure that I have actual official drain pouches. So this is clearly these are both. I'm guessing this one is probably for the shower because it's made out of mesh, but they have a belt I can put around my waist or put around my neck because post-surgery you have these drains like literally coming out of your body. Between 2 and 4 is really, really normal. And these drains have these little collection bulbs that you have to kind of, carry around. And because they're physically attached to your body and they're coming out of your body, these tubes, you need a place to put them if you're taking a shower or just moving around during the day. So I've got, a daytime pouch that I can just put around my waist, and it's got a clip and I can put the drains in there, and then a mesh bag for taking care of taking a shower. Wow, she has done her research and made sure that I actually these were things I really was just planning on DIYing it because I didn't you can like buy actual like sweaters with drain pouches built into them and like t-shirts and clothing, but like I said, I was really just planning on using a conference lanyard and clipping the drains to that, but now I have actual tools and infrastructure. So thank you That was so thoughtful. Whew. Okay. What else have we got here? Okay, what the heck is this? What is this? Okay. This I don't even know. I don't even know. Where did you find this stuff, lady? I shouldn't. Oh, there's no such things. In place where other people aren't going to see. Okay. What's in here? Oh my gosh. I'm not entirely sure how this is meant to work. Maybe she'll explain it. I might have to actually look it up. But clearly this is some sort of these little pillows, and there's a little freezer packet, so I can basically make them cold, and I assume this goes in here, and then somehow I put it somewhere, or maybe wherever I need it. I can just kind of shove this pillowy bit someplace and put this someplace. I'm not entirely sure how I'm going to use these, but I suspect they will definitely come in handy. But I mean, look at these little. I mean, for the rest of my life. I mean, I've actually even during my lumpectomy, I had these little lunch cooler packs. We have some from when my kid was extremely young. They're Sesame Street little cooler packs. They're about twice as big as this, and I used them a lot during my lumpectomy and biopsy because they were like exactly the right size for just shoving in my bra to keep everything cool. So these are gonna get used a lot. They're stupid cute. So that's gonna be really useful, I think. Wow. Okay. What else have we got in here? There's like 3 more things. Jeez. Oh, a sleep mask. Oh, that's really cool. I don't actually use sleep masks very often. So I have like one from Air Canada from like way back in the day. What is that? What's in here? Oh, earplugs. I am a safety consultant, so I actually have earplugs coming out my ears. But earplugs to go with the very, very lovely sleep mask. Oh, it's got a little, this is a nice one. Wow, it's got like, it's not actually gonna press on my eyeballs. Oh yeah, this is way nicer than any sleep mask I've ever had. Certainly much nicer than the ones that they give you on the airplane, which are the only ones I've ever actually had in my life. So, wow, well that's gonna be great, because we actually don't have blackout curtains in my bedroom. So this way, anytime I just want to like get away from the world, now I have a sleep mask. This is gonna be really, really useful. Doesn't quite fit. I'll figure that out later. Okay, so sleep mask. Ooh. Okay, what's in here? What is in here? I love that you didn't use tape, that everything is secured with paper clips. It's very much in keeping. I have a clown character that I created named Pomo, and Pomo is a health and silly officer. And all of Pomo's props are made from office materials. So I can really appreciate the safety clips. Well then, I have definitely heard that lip balm is going to be a useful thing, and I'm constantly losing lip balm, so this is going to get lots and very, very, very useful. And last, but I'm sure not least, okay. Oh yeah, perfect. So thoughtful. Nice, comfy, fuzzy socks. That's, of course, going to be spectacularly great. They're really soft. They're very nice. Thank you so much. This is yeah, that was really, really thoughtful of her. I mean, I'm going to be honest. If anybody's watching this video and you have someone that you care about that that you might want to, get a care package for, or just a little something for, I'm going to be really frank. Absolutely any one thing from this would have been like super special and incredible, and for her to have put together this entire package is means an awful lot. So this is quite, and the wonderful bag is going to be, very useful for the rest of my life. Yeah, one of the things that I did actually sort of want to talk about on this, now that we've kind of gone through this truly amazing care package, wow, is that I did want to sort of just kind of give an update of exactly what is happening on Wednesday, because some of my friends might not know specifically. I'm not sure how much I've laid it out. This actually kind of is truly true. I'm having a mastectomy on Wednesday, December the 10th, and once they actually take out so obviously the oncologist, the cancer surgeon, the breast surgeon is the one that is there to just take out all of the breast tissue, to basically, so that your body doesn't have any more breast tissue to develop breast cancer in. So that's step one. Step two in any breast cancer surgery, or for any breast cancer patient, is figuring out what to do next. What do you do now that they've scooped out all the insides of your breasts? There are a number of choices available these days, for which we're all very, any cancer patient will tell you, very thankful to have any options. I mean, for a very long time that was it. They just basically scraped everything bare and left you with some pretty horrible scars that a woman had to live with, or whoever the patient was had to live with for the rest of their lives. These days, reconstruction is a thing. So that's sort of the formal term for it, is what happens next after the actual mastectomy surgery is what type of reconstruction will be happening. And there are a number of options. I mean, none of them are perfect. None of them are going to give a woman back what she's lost, which, they did. The metaphor that I like to think of it as is it's like going to a restaurant and you have to eat something, but absolutely everything on the menu is a shit sandwich. So you just kind of have to figure out what type of shit sandwich you're getting, and then you get to eat that up. Because all of the reconstruction options are they all suck. None of them are going to give you back, or give me back the body parts that I'm going to lose. That's not on the table. It's not an option at this particular stage of things. So from a reconstruction standpoint, I have opted for one that's actually called aesthetic flat closure. That's the formal medical term for it. And it's essentially what a person would sort of naturally think of if a person said, hey, I'm having a mastectomy and I'm not getting anything else. But it turns out you actually have to specify that you want that closure to be flat and smooth and look nice. Because some surgeons in this world, especially cancer surgeons, basically see their job as getting rid of the cancer. They just got to get rid of the cancer, and what it looks like afterwards is not their business. It's not their concern. It's not their priority, which is really unfortunate. But that has been the case for a while, and women have had to fight for recognition of something that is formally now called aesthetic flat closure. And it's meant to be the idea that, if you don't want implants, if you don't want reconstruction, you don't want anything put in, that it should be basically, what's left behind should be closed in a way that looks nice and is smooth and, has as nice a scar as can be practical. That's going to be different for everybody. But that's what I'm getting done. And my reasoning for that, everybody makes their own choice. Like I said, please, if you have someone in your life who has breast cancer and they're ordering off this menu at the Café de Merde, don't judge their choice. It's theirs to make. It's such a personal choice, because implants are the most common choice. They're generally regarded as fairly standard. My background is in biomechanical devices. I literally TA'd a fourth year engineering class, and that is to say that basically I learned an awful lot about the what happens when you put things into a human body. Artificial joints, artificial, body parts in general. I spent a lot of time studying that, and I personally, learned that soft tissues are the most difficult to basically to replace. And there are a lot of things that can go wrong and have gone wrong with implants. There are a lot of people that get breast implants and don't have any problems, and they really are in the majority. But it's not always the case for everybody, and I personally don't want to roll the dice on that one, especially when I kind of know a lot about it, and I don't have confidence that my body would accept something like that very well. The other reason for me is simply that implants, and also the other option, which is called a flap surgery, or using autologous or autologous. I'm probably not pronouncing it right, but basically where they can actually, there's something called a deep flap, DEIP, where they can actually take it from different parts of the body, but deep flap is the most common, where they literally take a chunk of tissue, from a loose and jiggly part of the body on many women. That's kind of the tummy area, so if you've got a nice, a nice soft squishy belly section, makes you a really good candidate for this particular reconstruction surgery, where they take out a chunk of tissue and they can relocate it, using microsurgical techniques. It's amazing what they can do. You relocate it up to where your breasts would, your breasts are, and essentially create, a reconstructed breast mound out of a person's own tissue. It's alive. They're not putting anything that's, not your own body inside your body. It's quite incredible that they can do that. I am not a very good candidate for that. My current body doesn't have the extra tissue that that I would probably need, especially because there are two breasts that would need to be reconstructed, so that would require even more tissue. So there's that reason. I kind of took me out of the running from the get-go. The other thing is that the flap surgery, the recovery is really, really tough. It's really hard, because you've got two surgical sites that a person has to recover from. And, you know, especially because my favorite hobby is circus arts, like I've spent a lot of time, you know, working these core muscles, and I don't want to do anything that might compromise them if I don't have to. So for me, that flap surgery was not an option, for those key reasons. There was another option that I thought I was going to qualify for, called a Goldilocks mastectomy, and that one is fairly new. From what I understand, the technique was actually only developed sort of in the around like 2020. It's that kind of new, but it's really, really interesting because it only works for people with large pendulous breasts. So basically, women with big saggy breasts. And I was like, you know what? I am a 53-year-old woman who has, had, larger breasts for my entire adult life. I thought I was going to be a great candidate for that, because what they do is they actually, they keep the tissue that's not breast tissue. They basically, they open up the breast, sort of, think of it, as if it was like a kind of a tube sock. Because like I said, big, pendulous, you want saggy. They sort of open it up, they scoop out the breast tissue because that's where the cancer wants to grow. But anything left behind, like fat and skin, they can kind of like roll or tuck in and then sew that up so that you kind of, imagine having a tube sock and kind of rolling it up, and then you sort of sew it. And so a person ends up with basically sort of just a little baby breast, a small breast mound. It's not a breast. It doesn't have a nipple, but it's kind of a small breast mound. And I thought that was going to be great. I was like, I want that. Sign me up for that. That sounds kind of perfect. I'd have like little ballerina breasts. I mean, heck, I always wanted small breasts. I come from a family of very well-endowed women. I have spent most of my adult life in the, 34 to 36 FG range, depending on weight fluctuations over the course of my adult life. The idea of just a little ballerina breast sounded really, really awesome. Unfortunately, I got to the plastic surgeon and she was like, no, it turns out my breasts, while large, are dense. They're mostly breast tissue. They don't have a lot of fat. So by the time they scoop out the cancer breeding ground for them, apparently I'm not really going to have much left to tuck in. So that was really, really disappointing. That was a really disappointing thing to hear from the plastic surgeon, because all the other people that I had talked to, my breast surgeon, when I mentioned this Goldilocks procedure, she was like, I think you'd be a really good candidate. I talked to the fellow that was, the doctoral fellow that's working with my plastic surgeon. She took a look and she was like, I think Goldilocks would be pretty good. And then the plastic surgeon, the person who actually like just knows her stuff, she walked in, she took one look at me and she was like, nope, you're not going to have a good outcome. It's not going to heal right. It's not going to look good. She's like, sorry, no, that's not a good choice. So, I mean, you can't make something out of nothing. She explained the reasons, and, I just, we can't make it happen if it's not possible. So I had to give that one up. And so, my final choice was basically to have a flat closure. So basically, I'm not going to have breasts after Wednesday. It's just going to be, flat. And that for me was the best choice, because implants, and even like basically none of the other choices can give me back what I'm going to lose. Like, you know, for me, I don't need decorative breasts. I've enjoyed them through my adult life because they're a part of my sexuality. You know, they feel good. They have these nerves that, you know, it's an erogenous zone. It feels good. Absolutely none of the reconstruction options would have allowed me to keep that. It's that was never on the table with any of the choices. And that's something people don't talk about very much when they're talking about reconstruction. They don't talk about the fact that, you know, if you have implants, if you have flap surgery, and aesthetic flat closure, for the most part, you know, unless they're doing something really, really fancy and super cutting edge with the nerves, you're not going to be feeling very, very much up there. So from a sexual standpoint, I see them as kind of decorative, and I don't want to take the risks associated with implants. I don't want to deal with the recovery associated with flap surgery for something that to me really wouldn't give me anything other than something that looks like breasts but doesn't actually function in the way that I want them to work as part of my body. So I'd rather personally have nothing. You know, if I can't have what I'm losing, I'd rather have nothing. You know, if I go out in the world, I can put fake boobs in, I can wear prosthetics, I can, you know, I can put things down my shirt, and people who come in contact with me out in the world are never going to really know the difference. The only person who's, you know, who's actually this matters to has to be me. You know, my partner gets to at least have an opinion, you know, since he's also, you know, been involved with that particular part of my body for you know, a number of years. So he gets to have an opinion. But I mean, the great thing about that is that, you know, I've always been very confident that he is simply going to support whatever is going to make me the most confident going forward, and living my life, because, you know, he loves me, and he'd much rather have me here than you know, a body part that's trying to kill me. So that is the story of, you know, what's coming up, how I made my own personal decision. But I can't stress this enough. Like, this is my decision. This is, from what I understand, like, it seems like the most sensible choice to me. But from what I understand, it's an extremely uncommon one, which was really surprising to learn. You know, most people do have some sort of reconstruction, and so if you do know somebody who's making a choice like this, don't even think about, you know, judging their choice. It's super personal. You know, everybody needs to make their own choice about what is going to make them feel most confident and secure in their own body, you know, when they're standing in front of a mirror. And I don't think any of us have the right to judge another person who, you know, who chooses something different. I'm really, really thankful that I got to make any choice at all, and that's pretty great. And I you know, like I said, I am very thankful for it. I'm thankful that I got to make a choice. I'm also thankful that I had time to actually think about that and make sure that I was making the right choice. Because I mean, this was the thing about having you know, a lumpectomy a few years ago. I've spent a couple years playing the what if game and spinning that round in my head and asking myself the question, like, you know, okay, what would I do? A lot of women, especially when they get a cancer diagnosis, they don't have that kind of luxury. Honestly, so many of them are making these choices and making this life-altering decision under the gun. You know, they're trying to adjust to the fact that they have cancer. You know, if it's a larger tumor at a more advanced stage, you know, they're not waiting 5 months for their surgery. That they're like, you know, they could be facing chemo and surgery like ASAP. So their entire world has been turned upside down in a whirl. So I mean, I'm so freaking fortunate that I had time to think about this, and I had time to, like, you know, figure out what I would want to do and play the what if game, figure out what I would want to do before my second diagnosis came in. And so once the second diagnosis came in, I knew what I wanted to do. I was really confident in that choice because I'd had that time. But I'm really glad that I at least, you know, had that time and had that choice. I'm glad it was my decision. So that said, I'm a little scared. It's gonna be a really weird couple of days leading up to this. I suspect it'll be a lot better once it's over. I want to move on. I want to get on with this, and I can't start healing until they actually do the surgery. But oh, I'm so thankful that I've got, you know, good friends and good family and people, lots of people looking out for me and taking care. So we'll see if I can do any updates before I actually go in. But for now, I'm gonna sign off because, well, I came here straight from training and I need a shower. Have a good weekend.